host, Genesis. Genesis means beginning and a beginning to some. Welcome back to my podcast. You guys, seriously, I'm so happy to be here. It's been one hectic journey to get here. Thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to rest my mind and my spirit because girlfriend needed it. I was going through a lot emotionally and also dealing with finals, and I just didn't want to deal with this. As you can tell, this is a new background. I am in a different space, if you guys didn't see on my Instagram story. I moved rooms in the same house that I'm living in. So, yeah, I like this room because it has windows. My other one, okay, for context, people that don't live in Utah, you guys probably wouldn't understand, but let me explain. In Utah, it's very common for homes to be built with their second story underneath the ground. So in the ground, this is a 2-story duplex, but the second story is downstairs. And it's very common for those rooms to just have like a little window that's like this big. So yeah, that's what I was very much used to, and now I have 2 big windows that I'm not used to, but it's such a beautiful feeling to wake up with the sun, and I keep popping in every fucking direction. The downfall with the windows, though, is it picks up a lot of noise. My mic picks up a lot of noise from outside, so if you hear cars driving by, that's exactly what you're listening to. I cannot do anything about that right now. People are living their best lives out on the streets, and I gotta let them live, and if it's a bother to some, I cannot apologize. But nonetheless, we are here, we are thriving. I wanted to talk about my emotional state of mind and why I also decided to take a step back. A lot of things. My personal life here in my living situation was incredibly stressful all at once. And it felt like it was something I couldn't get out of, but I knew I was going to get out of. Because every situation that you go through has a solution, right? But just realizing that it was going to be such a far solution, it felt far. It wasn't far, but the solution came, and it's here now, and I'm thriving in it. It's been such a great experience overall thus far, but what I'm trying to say is I understood the assignment. The assignment took too long, is what I'm saying. For better context, I had to find roommates to replace my last roommates, and the process of that was a little stressful because it was very much ongoing, and that it was just a lot to deal with. On top of that, I felt like I was experiencing a lot of burnout from school and picking up so many shifts to make money for myself. It's a lot at once, but I handle situations like that day to day, so the universe hands me a lot of situations at once because that's how I manage things. That was a long sentence. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm just happy to be back. It feels really good to be sitting down and talking to you guys. I feel like you guys are my friends and I can tell you anything. So with that being said, I wanted to tell you a current chapter in my life. I don't know if I've mentioned it. I feel like I've mentioned it to, like, you know, my coworkers because we're really close, and, you know, my really close friends. But other than that, I haven't shared it with you, I don't think. So I was watching, what was I watching? The Ultimatum with Hendrix, and Hendrix made a comment about, like, why aren't you dating right now? And before I jump into the next part of this story, I'm a Capricorn. That should say enough of why I'm not dating. Listen, my expectations are high because I like to give love. I love to give love, and when that shit is not reciprocated, motherfucker, you better leave my life or I'll make you leave. Peace and love. Peace and love. Wait, what? How does he say it? Peace and love. Peace and love. Do not send me any more messages. H3 podcast. I'm obsessed. So I was experiencing burnout for a plethora of reasons, as I've mentioned, and ironically, my final paper for English was one of the main reasons too I was experiencing burnout. I picked a really difficult subject to talk about, and it was just such a coincidence that Roe versus Wade is in the process of getting overturned. Listen, I talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about on this podcast, so if you don't like it, God bless you on your journey to exit, because I'm not putting up with it. You're welcome to discuss anything you want in the comments if you feel like dropping any opinion, but know that I am free to ignore it. I am free to delete it. I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want with it. So be mindful of that. Anyways, the topic I chose to talk about, I don't know why I always do this with my hair, and I don't even enjoy my hair like this. Look, I was gonna wear my over the head headphones. It's just not working out, my guy, because today was hair wash day, and she's looking real good, and I'm not trying to mess with that, you know. What I was gonna say, the topic that I picked was a really difficult one. I didn't want to. So first of all, I wanted to talk about immigration reform. Very huge topic, but it was a little too big for me. That's what she said. So I decided to go with something a little bit more smaller, but still very, very big. And that topic was the cost of abortion versus adoption on an individual as well as a taxpayer. I'm very pro-choice. You have the right to choose what you want to do with your body, as well as you have the right to affordable health care. Those are statements that are true. You have the right to do whatever you want with your body, whether you're female, whether you identify as female or identify as male. You have the right to do what you want. I'm glad I was able to catch myself, because I don't want to misgender anyone or discredit anyone. Anyways, me being woke. Oh my God, look at me. No. But seriously, you should have that right to afford that access as well, right? But when it comes to dictating what someone should do with their bodies is a little ridiculous. Now, hear me out. Whether you believe in the fact that that is something someone should not do, it is not your place to judge that. If we're going to talk about God, right? This power above. If we're going to talk about him, we need to acknowledge that he preaches on not judging your neighbor. And by judging these women who choose to get abortions for whatever reason they choose to, is not my business, and it's not your business. That's just a matter of fact, right? Now, we also want to teach love. And I feel like, look, I'm a very critical thinker sometimes. Some other times, not so much. I mean, I can barely English, and my brain can't fucking read English, okay? But there's something up here. I also think about, like, if we really truly want to spread love, genuinely, don't you think that we would want to spread love, a little bit more love in foster care systems? Now, these are very small examples as to what God teaches, but my topic was really hard to talk about because obviously when you're writing a research paper, you have to remain neutral to all standpoints, right? And that was challenging, but also very eye-opening, because I realized that when talking to other people in everyday life, I need to be more understanding of their viewpoints, and it's helped me a lot. I just found it incredibly crazy to know that I can't even, what was it, 24% of children that age out of the foster care system become instantly homeless. Now, let's just use that simple fact, right? I can't exactly tell you what percentage they play in the homeless population. Nonetheless, that's a huge percentage of children that age out of the foster care system that have access to nothing. If we, okay, and keep in mind, only less than 4% of babies end up in the foster care system, because the way that works is that they prioritize finding a home in relation to the child. That's what they want. They want to find that child's family, and less than 4% of children end up in the foster care system, because there's a process to this, right? They don't just like, okay, here, take my kid. No, they're going to make an effort to keep that child within the family or a close friend, something, right? But nonetheless, okay, so now we're talking about that, right? These children age out of the foster care system and there's little to no resources. Now we're trying to overturn Roe versus Wade and dictate what women do with their bodies. Now let's add another fact. With this economy, with how things are going, genuinely, you guys, the last thing we should be talking about is how to dictate what women do with their bodies. There is a rise in poverty everywhere. Sorry, I had to attend something, but anyways, there's a rise in poverty everywhere, and to prioritize what women do with their bodies, with their healthcare, with their money, is a little out of pocket, if you ask me. But that's not what I want to talk about. But that was a huge reason as to why I had to take a step back, because also social media was like really getting to me in a way that I didn't want it to. So that was another reason. But to the second story, let's give this a moment. Let's give this camera a moment to cool down, give it a second, and then I'll talk about the cheesement of this episode. Not really cheesement. We'll see. We'll see how it goes as I'm talking, okay? We'll see. Can't make any promises. That gave me the perfect amount of time to set my steak to cook. I have a timer on. I need to stop doing that. If I put it too far, I feel like you can't hear me, and then it's close and I hit it. I need to stop speaking with my hands. But, okay. I don't date because, like I said, I'm a Capricorn. And I date. I do. To get to know people, but then I also get very annoyed incredibly quickly. But as much as I get annoyed, I also understand, I'm using this out of context, not in the scenario that I mean to, but different strokes for different folks. And so part of my learning process, I'm someone who is okay to cut people out of my life. And I don't mean that in a way where like, oh, you did me wrong, fuck you, I'm never gonna talk to you ever again. No. There are people that I do that to because I genuinely don't feel that they deserve it to be in my life. But I'm also very open to doing that when it comes to dating and being very forward. And that's not something that people enjoy. And I've learned to establish a form of communication that does not come off as catty, but even then, like, it's hard to have people not understand where you're coming from, right? And also, I was very annoyed with the fucking fact that, listen, I live in Utah, so the dating pool is a little, it's little. It's a pond, it's not a pool. And on top of that, because I am Latina, there's a lot of over-sexualization of who I am as a woman. Because Latinas are supposed to be sexual all the time. Latinas are supposed to be feisty all the time. And, bitch, listen, I like to just lay down and watch The Office, And I'm a very sleepy person. So that was another reason why I got very easily annoyed of dating, because of the stigma that I was already under. So I stopped dating. I stopped dating for a while. So anyways, we're watching The Ultimatum, and Hendrix is like, download Tinder. And I was like, no, I'm not about to do that. And he's like, why aren't you dating? Because I don't fucking want to. Like, if I wanted to, I would. Promise. But I don't want to. And the people that are showing interest in me are not my person. I just know it, and I'm not going to force anything, right? You know, that's what I'm thinking to myself, and that's what I've always thought. I'm not going to force anyone with any fucking buddy. Perdóname, pero ya no soy esa. Ya no lo soy. Esa persona ya no la conozco. I have grown a lot. So he finally convinces me to download Tinder, and I'm sitting there and I'm laughing. I'm like, this is my options. Oh my god. It was not a good time. And now at this point I'm just like swiping for fun, right? Before I get to the juicy part, I'm swiping for fun, talking to a bunch of dudes, and just having a grand old time. There was one guy, my phone's charging, but his profile was like, no libs, no trans, I don't know. It was a list of very opposite of what I believe in. There was a man that straight up picture of his print in his sweatpants. That was the only picture he offered. It was literally like his waist down, standing against a wall with a print of genitalia. It's an interesting pool. But anyways, I'm swiping, right? And then I find someone that I actually like. And it's been going well. I don't talk about my dating life on the internet, but I'm very happy with where I am right now. I was experiencing self-doubt yesterday because I have spent so much time away from investing my time in a relationship that it's been a minute since I've actually practiced like being in a relationship. At least it feels like a long time. I was in a relationship something last summer, and that didn't end well. It's a funny thing when people show you who they are, right? But anyways, I was experiencing self-doubt yesterday, and mira, fumar la lechuga del diablo no me ayudó. Doing yoga no me ayudó. Didn't help. I tried meditating, it didn't help. I just felt like this overwhelming amount of discomfort, and I couldn't find myself being in the present moment, where I was not giving too much thought process to my self-doubt. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll read, because I have a tendency of buying books, purchasing books, and then just having them there. I start them and I don't finish them. Audiobooks, on the other hand, A1. So anyways, I sat in front of my stack of books and I was like, I want to pick one up that resonates with me. And ironically, I was struggling with being in the present moment, and I picked up The Power of Now. And I opened up to the page where I left off. And I had to highlight this, and I wanted to share it with you guys in case you are struggling with internal thoughts of self-doubt. Okay, because I read this before. Like I said, I opened up the page where I left off, read the first paragraph, because I like to always read the first paragraph of where I leave off anywhere of the page, either side. I don't care if I end up on this side or this side. I will start on this side again so I can refresh where I was, right? Anyways, sorry, I had to practice reading this. So if I pause This is very nerve-wracking because I'm reading on social media is really scary. Anyways, what it says is, once the pain body takes you over, you want more pain. You become a victim or a perpetrator. You want to inflict pain, or you want to suffer pain, or both. There really isn't much difference between the two. You are not conscious of this, of course, and eventually claim that you do not want pain. But look closely, you will find that your thinking and your behavior are designed to keep the pain going for yourself and others. If you truly were conscious of it, the pattern would dissolve. For to want more pain is insanity, and nobody is consciously insane. And so I was sitting there thinking to myself, I really like this person. I don't want to do anything to fuck it up. I want to be my best self and put my best foot forward every single time. And not only for what could be a relationship long term, but for myself. Do things out of my own comfort. Do things because I want to do things, because my inner person really wants to do them. I don't want to do things or feel like I have to, or have this pressure to like constantly give myself, when I have to give myself time for myself, give myself some time. And ironically, that is one of the first conversations that we had at the beginning of knowing each other, and it's gone very well. But my self-doubt was kicking in yesterday, because I was like, oh man, like, what if me not constantly talking to this person makes them lose interest in me? And like, I want to talk to them all day. Like, why would I say I didn't want to talk to them all day? And that was not a good place to be, because the self-doubt that I was feeling was trauma from past relationships, where I felt the need to constantly always be talking to them. And when they weren't talking to me, it was because something wrong was going on. Or feeling that codependency. And I no longer want to feel that in a relationship. I want to be an individual while being in a relationship. And my past self is coming forward and inflicting pain on me and making me self-doubt. Give me 1 second. Overheating again. I'm gonna go check on my steak. Anyways, what I was saying is, I was starting to feel a lot of like anguish and anxiety and stuff like that. And it was super hard to find myself back in the present and not think that because we're not talking, he's spending time with someone else, because that's happened to me before. Or I'm not giving enough, so they're going to start pulling back. And those are things I don't want to feel and don't care to continue to feel. But that's what growth is. You keep coming back to the things that make you feel like you're stumped. And it's until the moment that you decide that this is no longer going to serve you any great purpose, you align yourself within yourself and find yourself in the present and correct your present self. And, you don't live there anymore. That is not you anymore. Because you had that in your past does not represent your current present, right? And as I was, I read that and I sat there with myself and I was like, you know what? I need to check myself every moment that I feel this insecurity coming on, and also obviously voice it. That was my oven. Anyways. And the last time I felt an insecurity that I felt that I needed to voice, I had the option to, and I was heard, and it was a beautiful thing. So I feel as though if you find yourself in a toxic relationship and you feel unheard constantly, and you constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells, or a part of you is missing, I really encourage you to take a step back and acknowledge that there's a world around you that's going to offer you so many blessings and so much abundance that you don't need to settle for any kind of neglect, abuse, questioning your self-worth, anything that makes you feel out of your own element. I have been a firm believer that life is too short to settle, and it really is. I feel that once you let go of expectation, easy to say, hard to do. Once you let go of expectation of what's to come for your future, then everything else starts to fall into place. And that's been a really tough thing for me to remind myself is I cannot force anything. The only thing I can force is my behavior and what I give to the universe and how I react to what the universe gives me. So, yeah, I figured I'd share that with you guys. I find myself in a very happy place, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And I like where my mind is, prioritizing me, prioritizing my needs, and prioritizing what I want. What do I want at the end of the day? And yeah, there's compromise in relationships, and there is understanding, and there's forgiveness. But some people don't deserve that from you. Just because you're giving that 100%, you're giving all the emotion, all the attention, all the love. There's not enough love in the world to change someone who is not ready to change for you, for who you want them to be. And that's not to say that you're going around changing people. We don't change anyone, right? But our presence encourages positive change. And if that's not what's happening, then reassess where you are in that relationship, whether that's a friendship or an actual relationship, a partner. Something that also made me stray away from relationships is like seeing people around me in situations that I would never allow myself to be in. And I don't mean that from a place of judgment. I simply have been single and made single decisions for a while now. And so when I would hear that, I would fail to understand that it's not that easy. So I understand if you are in a situation like this and find it that people don't understand you. It's when you hit your breaking point that you'll have enough and walk away from a situation that serves you no purpose. Maybe in the future I'll get to talk about certain people that impacted my life negatively, but although they impacted my life negatively, a lot of positive came out of it. I don't know if that'll ever be a thing, simply because you guys would easily find out who these people are, and I've shared about it. Obviously, you guys have seen me in a relationship, but there's also someone that caused me a lot of turmoil my entire fucking life for 9 years, and I would like to talk about that, but I'm not in a place to talk about it right now. But with that being said, I'm going to end this episode here. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I am done with this, tell me if you guys are down. When I'm done with this, I was thinking as I was reading it, I'm like, how cool would it be to make this like, the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants, except I don't know what we'll call this adventure, but essentially have this book travel from hand to hand, mind to mind. Whether you feel like it's a book that resonates with you and you choose to read it, or you want to have it with you and maybe someday you'll open it. I don't think the time frame matters. I think the only thing that matters is that you continuously hand this off to someone. I think that would be so fucking cool. I wrote my name up front, and I think it would be really cool if we continued that. If the next person that wants this and you want to make it your responsibility to send it off to another person, I think that's really cool. You don't sell it, you do nothing with it. All you do is just hand it off to the next person, and they get to write their name and the date that they received it. And I'm very excited because I also want to write my name on the back and write the day that I finished it. So you can see how long it takes someone to get through a book, or also, like, you can highlight things in here. I think this would be so cool to just like pass around. I'm gaining so much like spiritual knowledge from this, and I'm really happy about that. And I think it would be really beneficial for other people to experience it as well. So if that's something you want to partake in, I think that's cool, and let me know so I know who to send it to when I'm done. I don't promise that'll be anytime soon. I struggle to read, and I take a long time to read things, but when I finish, you will be the first person to get it, and then you decide in what hands it goes to next. People that deserve it, I think. So that'd be really cool. Let me know if you guys want to do that. But anyways, again, ending this podcast here. I was supposed to end it a little bit ago, but I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being here tonight, today, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you choose to watch this. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to experience this with you. Hopefully something resonated with you. Let me know what you guys think about this episode, what you guys think about my new setup, and how have you been? Tell me how you've been in the comments if you've made it this far in this podcast episode. With that being said, I will catch you guys on the flippity flip. And remember that your vibe attracts your tribe. Let's rock. Bye, guys.